Welcome to episode number 9 of the Go For Two podcast. I am your host, Jackson Wallace, and I got my buddy here, Lucas, with me. How you doing, Lucas?
Fantastic. It was a great weekend for the Titans. Just
Yes.
almost perfect. Almost. We were so close. Joe Flacco almost came through for me, but sad days. Von Miller roughing the passer, give him the free yards, kick, field goal,
Win the game.
depression.
Gardner Minshew goes 2-0. I actually think he's 2-1. He started the second game, I think.
He excuse me. I actually don't know. I think he
started the second game.
I thought he just played part of the. Okay, he played part of the first game, lost it, and then played the second game, won. Or lost. So he's 2-1?
2-1, yeah.
I didn't think he'd played all 3 games. I'm upset.
He's played all 3 games, my friend. Now I'm happy that you're excited and that we have something to celebrate this week. I've been over here kind of crying in a corner a little bit, Lucas, after the loss Sunday night. We'll get into it. I don't have a how about them Cowboys scream for you guys this week. Sure. I can say how about that defense though.
Yeah, congratulations. You held Teddy Bridgewater to 4 field goals?
The 4 field goals, baby. 4 field goals. He should have had like 3 touchdowns at least. Our defense held. Oh God, you're getting me started on the subject, Lucas.
Well, I mean, that's the first subject. That's how we're starting off the show today.
Oh, you're being that cruel to me off the rip.
No, it ain't that, man. It's just big stuff, We gotta start off with a bang, and so
okay, that's fine.
Here's the big deal, Jackson. All right, the Cowboys' offense stalled, and it just lackluster from the offense.
That is saying it nicely.
So I need you to tell me what happened, brother.
Okay, here, I'll tell you what happened. Number 1, for whatever reason, Zeke decided to skip this game. I don't think that was actually him. I think that was like his clone from another universe or something, because it definitely wasn't Zeke. He averaged 1.8 yards a carry. Okay? 1.8 yards a carry. We could throw a high school halfback in there, and he's going to get at least 2 behind the Cowboys' offensive line. And he got 1.8. Are you kidding me? Oh, and a fumble. A key fumble on a 4th and 1. I was so happy when we went for our 4th and 1. I said, finally, Jason Garrett has some testicles. Let's go. But no. Of course we get on 4th and 1. Zeke gets at least 2 yards on the 4th and 1. I'm like, okay, here we go. And he fumbled the ball. By the way, they went back through, okay, on the replay and said, oh, yeah, he didn't fumble it. Well, that just stalled our drive. We got up and going, and we're ready to go. Here we go. We're getting in a groove. We're about to get in their red zone. Okay, we're feeling it. Yeah. Fumble. May I say, preceding that fumble, we had someone fumble that I don't think I have ever seen fumble in a Cowboys game. Jason Witten, the vet, the GOAT. Fumble. 3rd and 10. Dak Prescott drops back. Beautiful pass right over the middle to Witten, who runs a nice little post. Beautiful. I've seen him do it a million times. I actually saw him do it one time against Philly in December in the rain, and he ran through. He even got hit. His helmet got ripped off from his body, and he took it all the way to the house. 60 extra yards. But on this time, for whatever reason, I don't know who the corner was. Someone came from behind him and just poked that ball out. I was so upset. We converted a nice 3rd and 10. We're getting a drive going. Here we go. Hoopla, hero, bago, and it was just stalled. That happened to us twice. Not to mention, we had 2, not 1, 2 dose pass interference calls on Amari Cooper. Offensive pass interference calls on key 3rd downs. So many times, Lucas, we're driving the ball down. Now there were granted to the New Orleans defense. Okay, they did incredible in stopping us from the beginning. Okay, we had several 3 and outs. Right, it wasn't pretty. All right, we couldn't get anything going on the run game. But as soon as we did get something going, it's a holding call. It's an offensive pass interference. It's a fumble. It's a mismanaged play clock, mismanaged clock management. We just couldn't get in a rhythm. Plain and simple. Just could not get in a rhythm all game long.
So you think you beat yourselves? Because I've heard,
I think it's a little bit of both.
I've always heard like a saying is that, especially for the first half of the season, first quarter of the season, teams don't win games, teams lose games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, do you think the Cowboys beat the Cowboys? Or do you think the Saints beat the Cowboys?
The Saints are an incredible football team, and they showed their resolve even without Drew Brees. They're winning games and they're beating good teams. They beat Seattle last week, went into their house and beat them, and they came home for a homestand, and we just got outcoached. We definitely got outcoached. Sean Payton's an incredible play caller, an incredible coach.
True.
Right? He made his adjustments and it worked. Yes, he had to do it with 4 field goals, but he got the job done. When it counted at the end, right? They converted, I think it was 2 or 3 third downs in a row to take an extra 3 minutes off the clock. We get the ball back with no timeouts, about a minute and a half left, and we get sacked immediately. Then we're back at the 2-yard line. Then Tyron Smith. Ooh, I had a scare with Tyron Smith. Lucas. Ooh, bro. We get the ball back minute and a half. Okay. Dak Prescott drops back, has plenty of time. Okay. Dumps off the ball, right? Or just like he gets rushed, so he just throws it away basically. But as he's throwing it away, he gets hit. And when he gets hit, he rolls back into Tyron Smith's ankle. And I see that ankle on the replay just kind of like, it looked like it snapped or like twisted or something. And I'm thinking, oh no. We start the season 3-0. And we're going to lose our starting left tackle, the most important offensive lineman. And this is what it's going to say in the history books. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I was so upset. But turns out he just had a little update for Tyron Smith, by the way, as I continue to go on my tangent. Not a normal high ankle sprain. He's going to miss next week against Green Bay, but he should be back the week after. Best case scenario possible for us. So that is good because we don't have any other experience at left tackle at all. So,
welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club, man. Hey, how's it going? Make room.
The O-line show continues,
dude. Okay, but to answer your question, I think we just couldn't get started. We kept beating. I think we did beat ourselves. Ultimately, I think we did, but I don't want to take anything away from the Saints' game plan, from the Saints' coaching, from their defense, because they came out to play, and Lattimore shut down Cooper. He shut him down, man. And when you take away Cooper and you're taking away the running game and we can't do any play actions or bootlegs or any kind of trickery, and our motion starts to kind of go away and we panic and we start playing vanilla, if they forced us to play old Cowboy football instead of how we played the first 3 weeks. And I mean, that's just superior coaching, right. Yeah, Dak didn't look great, but I mean, he himself didn't lose us the game.
Right. So I didn't get to watch the game, but I've listened to multiple shows and I've listened to you talk about it and stuff. And so it seems to me Zeke got shut down, right? The run game got shut down.
He did.
And so
bad.
And so then it's all on Dak, right?
Right.
So you had over a minute for the drive to make it down the field, right? For the final drive?
Down to, I think it was about a minute and 32 seconds, minute and 35 seconds.
All right. So walk me through what happened there, because I don't know how do y'all not make it down there?
All right. So the Saints are driving the ball. They got the ball back. I think it's about 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. Maybe, I think it was 3 to 4 minutes left. And they get one first down after another. Eventually, they pass the 2-minute warning. They have a first down. We're like, okay, we have to stop them here or we're done. Get the ball back. Use all of our timeouts to do it. First play, we Dak gets sacked. And it brings us back to, I want to say like the 3-yard line or so, because they punted the ball away and it was a really good punt. pinned us kind of inside of our own 10. Dak gets sacked on top of that. We're playing from the 3-yard line. No timeouts. We got to hurry up and go. We can't spike the ball, obviously, because then we'll be in third down.
Right.
So then as soon as that happens, Dak throws a little check down, gets hit, rolls back into Tyron Smith. Then third down comes up. Completed the ball, moves it up, made it like a 3rd and 12. Then we hit a bomb about 30 or 40 yards to, I think it was Randall Cobb over the middle. But then by that time, we just didn't have any time left. We got down, clocked it. We have the balls at like the 52. So it's like a 70-yard field goal. And it's either, well, I think what they did, and my dad brought up a good point. He's like, why don't they just go for a field goal there? Just go for the record and go for the win. He's like, and I want to ask you this question. It's like, is that a higher percentage of like converting a 70-yard field goal as opposed to yes, Ziva, as opposed to, my cat's in the background for you guys listening, as opposed to a Hail Mary type situation? But I see what they were clearly going for. It's like they're hoping for a pass interference call at like
and then
the 15.
One more
and
play.
then an untimed down and a kick a field goal. That's what they're hoping for in the game plan. Like, which strategy would you rather go with? Is my question.
Honestly, I feel like that's the best thing to do is the Hail Mary for it. Now, because I think 70 yards is pushing it. If it was like 65, get them out there, get them on the field. Wait, boot it all
when
the way
you start
there.
to get to those longer lengths, it's incredibly unlikely that you just have enough leg to do it. Like some max I've seen some of these people do is like 68, 64, and that's like barely coming over the crossbar. Like you have to do it perfect.
Yeah, I know.
But I understand, and like it's kind of a 50-50 toss up. Like, what do you want to do? Do you just want to go for the record for the field goal, or do you want to just toss it up? I think because you have the pass interference potential, you just go for the Hail Mary, because one or two things happen. Three things happens, or I guess 4. You get intercepted, you get a knockdown, you get a pass interference, or you catch the ball.
Especially with the way that the flags have been going, which is just crazy and is changing games for the worse, in my opinion. Like all the penalties they're calling right now, but they're trying to be better about it. I get that. It's whatever. But so I do have to stay on the Cowboys. I got questions to ask you about that.
Oh, lay it on me.
So you got Zeke. That man's getting paid. All right.
He sure did get paid. He got his contract. He secured the bag.
All right. So Zeke is getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And you said he averaged 1.8 yards.
Yeah.
All right. You got Dak, who is gonna get paid.
Absolutely.
And I know because I watched highlights and stuff. I watched some clips from the game, and I watch him miss just lead a guy too far in the end zone. Would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, missed a couple throws.
Right. So, and like that happens to every quarterback. It's just that one throw in the end zone, the guy's open, misses it. Like that's a big deal.
For sure.
And
we had a couple drops too.
Right, and then that's my next thing. Amari Cooper wants to get paid. He wants the bag, and this man
he wants Michael Thomas money.
Yeah, 2 offensive penalties, and then he wasn't exactly making a play. For those listening, I'm sitting here trying to say this stuff, and Jackson's cat is just crawling up his back. They have a very strange relationship.
Yeah, she's sitting on my computer right now. You might have to come down here in a second there, Ziva. Okay. Anyway.
So I wanted to know what you think about this hurting Dax and Amari's, like, hurting their money that they want.
Hurting their chances?
Especially
I'm not going to read.
Because I think Jerry Jones, can just point at this and he'd be like, when Zeke wasn't doing his job and you being the quarterback, we needed you to elevate the team. We needed you to score one more time. You couldn't do it for us.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, anytime that happens, you're going to have ammunition. You're going to have ammunition on both sides. But then Dak can come right back and say, okay, well, I went into Green Bay and I beat Aaron Rodgers. He can say, I played against Russell Wilson at home and beat him in a playoff game, right? He could say a multitude of things. Like, I don't think this one game is going to severely impact him salary wise or contract wise. I think this happens to every quarterback. They had a rough game. A lot of it was very choppy. It wasn't very clean from our side. It was very like a lot of little mistakes that led to that game being harder than it needed to be. Right? Because if the defense shows up like they did, and they hold Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara to 4 field goals, you're expected to win that game, even though it's on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do want to credit the Superdome itself because that was a huge factor in the Cowboys' struggles, I think. I think playing in that environment with that amount of hype and that amount of noise really troubled Dak. Throughout the game, I saw him just screaming to his O-line, making checks, and then Zeke coming in closer to listen to him, trying to hear the check because they just could not hear. Every time they were on the field, they had a lot of communication troubles. And I'm not gonna blame it and say that that's the reason they lost. I'm just saying that that's a factor. And inexperience sometimes, like when you have such a young, good team, inexperience in that case can contribute to losses. But no, I don't think that this is really going to impact his contract long term at all. It's one game, right? Now, if we get down to the end of the season, okay, and it's to get in the playoffs, or it is a playoff game, and Zeke struggles and Dak struggles to elevate his team to a playoff win when Zeke can't play very well, then I think that would matter a lot more. I think the weight of that game would be more impactful. And then somebody like Jerry or Stephen Jones or the front office can go and then bring that up and say, hey, listen, this wasn't a regular season game. This was for the marbles and you did not deliver.
Right. Yeah,
right.
The only way I see this one maybe being a big deal is you get towards the end of the season and it's like, well, if you beat the Saints, then you would have had home field advantage when you met them in the playoffs.
It's definitely a big game.
You didn't beat them, and so now you're having to play in the Superdome again in the playoff environment against Drew Brees.
Right. It's going to be hard.
I believe the whole team had some problems. Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely was not all pinned on Dak, right? You had Michael Gallup out. You couldn't get the run game going. And I have some stats. The Cowboys themselves are 1-8 when Zeke goes for 75 yards or less. 1-8. Right? So for anybody that questions that if Zeke does not have a huge impact on this offense, clearly the math is on Zeke's side. When the Cowboys have a 100-yard rusher or 75 yards rushing or more, they win more games. And that's just even that in itself is just the nature of the NFL offense these days, because the way that the Cowboys offense is set up in general is play actions, bootlegs, being able to go over the top when the opposing team stack the box. Right? And just in general, if you can't run the ball very well, most of the time, unless you're Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, right? Big Ben in his heyday, it's hard to succeed in the NFL.
Isn't it this a little sidetrack, a little side note? Isn't it crazy that there's only 9 games in his career that he's had under 75 yards rushing? That's pretty wild. So we'll get
4 years in.
We'll get off the Cowboys. All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on. I put in my notes last week. Excuse me. After we did last week's episode and we did our picks and we did the Browns-Ravens game and we also talked about Lamar Jackson, I was like, come back to this game because the Browns stomped the Ravens 40-25. All right. The Ravens got manhandled.
Defense is real.
Okay. So I need to know your thoughts on Lamar Jackson after this game, because last week, you were like, I got faith in him. I think. Well,
yeah, he went 2-0, and he played very well against Kansas City.
I'm still talking. You are,
but I like it.
All right.
Well,
no, oopsie
daisy ends.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, so Lamar's like you're like, Lamar been putting in a lot of work. He's gonna play way better than Baker. Baker did all these commercials, da da da.
Yeah.
And who won the game?
At the end of the day, Cleveland won the game. I was surprised.
Cleveland
I picked the Ravens to win that outright, and I was shocked by what happened. I really was. I did not expect Cleveland, let alone to win, but to come out and beat the crap out of Baltimore.
Oh, and they did. Nick Chubb had 165 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, like when the Browns are on, right? With the amount of talent that they have on both sides of the football, they should be doing this more often, right? When you look at the talent like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, right? Baker and Myles Garrett, and you go across the line there. It's they really do have quite a stacked team. But where my reservations are the coaching staff for sure. Freddie Kitchens wasn't a coordinator at this point last year. He was a position coach. And here he is, head coach of the Cleveland Browns this year. And with his play calling in other games this year, I question it, but I'll tell you what, man, when you're on fire, you're on fire. And I'm not going to take this as a huge knock against Lamar Jackson, right? Obviously, it's a big win for Baker Mayfield, and it's a big win for Cleveland in general. They're now 2-2, and they lead the division. Okay, a division other than Baltimore. It's going to come down between them and Baltimore. Who's going to win that division, right? Because yes, Pittsburgh won last night, but when you start 0-3, the chances of going and winning your division, I think, are like 8%, and I just don't see them doing that at this point. But yeah, I mean, hey, credit to Cleveland. They came out there with the game plan, executed it, and they beat the heck out of Mr. Lamar Jackson.
What you got on Lamar? Because that's what I'm more interested about. Because last week you were all up with him and you were all against Baker. And what happens this week? Like Lamar Jackson comes out and he throws 2 interceptions, and you could argue that without those 2 interceptions, maybe they win.
Right.
And then
2 more possessions.
Baker threw for almost 400 yards, and Lamar didn't pass the 250 mark. So, what you got on the Lamar Baker battle? Because last week that was a thing that we talked about, and you were all against Baker, like I said, and you were all for Lamar, and
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I still think Lamar's a better quarterback right now.
For me.
You can have the floor here in a second. You asked me the question. At the end of the day, right now, I still think Lamar Jackson's better. I still think he has more to offer at this point. I think he has more upside. But right now, obviously Baker came out there and he won, and he proved all the haters wrong, because all week everybody was talking about Baker versus Lamar and production and off-season workouts and questionable play calls and passing the ball against the Jets when you're up 20-3 with 2 minutes left, and just kind of the Cleveland Brown culture. And then you're talking about Lamar and Baltimore and playing a very good Kansas City team, playing them close, but still they were 2-0 and they lost 1 game, but it was close. It's 1 game, right? I'm not going to completely take anything away from Lamar overall from losing 1 game, nor am I going to crown Baker Mayfield the king of the AFC North by winning this game against Lamar. They still have another matchup later on in the year. Okay, we'll see what happens then. Baker could very well come out, win that game outright, and shut everybody up. And if that happens, then I will eat my words. But I am not ready to crown him king of the AFC North quite yet. We'll just have to wait and see. Across the NFL is such a competitive league that any given Sunday, anybody can win. So was I surprised and shocked by this weekend's events? Obviously, right? Because I picked Baltimore to win. I thought that was a sure. Like if you had given me any pick that I said this is an absolute lock, I would have said Baltimore. But Cleveland showed up and they played well, and I hope that they continue to play well, right? And they figure it out. And Freddie, because I think their team has an opportunity to do something special, especially for the city of Cleveland. I just at this point don't believe in their coaching staff, and I don't believe in their culture.
That's reasonable. So the last thing on this, because you were saying you're not ready to crown them yet.
Right? Yo, Romeo Crennel, when he played against the Bears, you remember that? If you want to crown them, then crown them. They are who we thought they were.
Anyways,
I love it.
Cleveland and Baltimore are now tied at 2-2.
They are.
What you got going on? Because I know you think Baltimore's going to win the division.
I do, but I'll tell you what, man. If at the beginning, let's say we go back to preseason, right? Episode 2 of the Go for 2 podcast. We're just getting ourselves started, okay? When we start talking about division winners, like I think you and me both picked Pittsburgh. I could be wrong. You might have picked somebody else, but
we definitely did.
Yeah, like if you had told me at this point that Baker and Lamar are both 2-2, and Cleveland has a grip at this moment on the division, I would have told you that you were crazy. But that's the beautiful thing about the NFL, man. Like week to week, stuff changes and stories happen, and anybody can be anybody. You just have to whoever comes out there and executes their game plan the best, right, and executes on that day is going to win. And that's the thing I love about this game. I can't, if it was all black and white on paper and I was like, okay, well, Baltimore has a better team, they're a better coaching, whatever, they should win, it'd be boring, right? If you could predict every game, then what's the reason of even watching it? You know? I think that's what I love about the sport the most, is that it is unpredictable in some cases, except saying that Tom Brady is going to age because he continues to defy logic. That's the only thing.
Yeah, that's something that kind of got on me a little bit. Like people have been talking, because every year you get the Tom Brady's fell off the cliff game.
Every year,
he threw for like 150 yards.
And some people are saying it this week.
The good Bills defense, yeah. So people are saying it. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. He's goaty. You can't worry about the goat.
You know what I find, Lucas, and it's not the case, with us, but I think it's the case with majority mass media when it comes to pro sports, right? They want people to watch, so they want to create different controversial topics. So it's like every Monday, it's overreaction Monday on everything. Dak's not a good quarterback anymore. Mariota's the GOAT now. Brady has fallen off a cliff. He had, time has caught up with him. Baker Mayfield is the king of the AFC North. It's week 4. The first quarter of the season has just wrapped. We could say all of this stuff about 2019 when we start talking about the playoffs. But that's a good thing about what we do, man.
Do you know what the mass media's thing this week has been? Because you said Mariota's go now, because he had an excellent game Sunday.
He did, dude.
It has actually not even been close to that. It has all been, oh, well, the Tennessee Titans. This does happen, by the way. This is a real thing. Mm-hmm. But you can't just say this and then disregard a good win. Like it's still a good win. They're just, the Tennessee Titans always lose games they should win, and then they pulled off some stupid victory over a team that should beat the crap out of them. And so that's what we've seen. Next week against Buffalo, they won't even look like an NFL football team. Like that's what I'm hearing from all these places. And people are like, Mariota didn't really do good. The Falcons just beat themselves. Their secondary is all injured up. He couldn't throw a ball if he wanted to.
Oh my gosh, man!
Like people still calling for this man's head. But anyways. So we ain't made to the Titans yet. All right, we can't go in on the Titans.
We haven't segued there yet. Okay,
right, that's it. So the next thing we have is we're gonna keep on the quarterbacks. All right, the quarterback train. That's what everyone wants to hear. That's what the NFL is based around. The most important people in the league.
The new era of young quarterbacks.
So Daniel Jones got to play Dwayne Haskins this past weekend. And during the second quarter of the game. Washington decided to bench Case Keenum, which I think was a very bad decision. He was 6 of 11 for 40 yards. I know that's not good.
They hit the panic button. They hit it quick.
Yeah, they hit the panic button. They hit it quick. And Dwayne Haskins ended up going, so this is like 2.5 quarters of football. He went 9 for 17 for 107 yards and 3 interceptions, and one of them was a pick 6. Ooh. Not cool. All right? Not cool at all.
He's not ready yet.
I don't want to compare. Well, you're welcome. We'll get into the comparing of Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins afterwards.
Okay.
But I want to let you know that Daniel Jones was 23 of 31 for 225 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Honestly, that's terrible against the Washington Redskins defense, who has been potentially the worst defense against the pass, especially the long ball this year, it seems.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But like, I want to get into Washington's decision first to bring Haskins out.
Okay.
So Case Keenum, I'll go first here. Case Keenum had one bad game, in my opinion, out of the 3 games he played or whatever. His third game was bad. His first and second games were really good. They put up some pretty good numbers on offense, I thought. And then this game was just getting started, and I don't like that they threw Dwayne Haskins into this situation, like where they just like obviously the plan all week wasn't to bring him in the second quarter. So it's not like he thinks that he's going to start. I know they say be ready and everything, but they just threw him in there. The Redskins had 12 penalties as a team, and I don't like that you just throw your rookie quarterback into this when your team's getting beat up.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I completely agree with you. I think they hit the panic button. I think Jay Gruden's like, oh crap, I'm done after this year, right? And I know it, right? Because Case Keenum wasn't having a terrible year, right? He was having reasonable numbers. I think he was a top 5 in passing in terms of passing yards going into the week. So it's not like he's having a terrible year. He's playing fairly well. And with Dwayne Haskins, especially in the preseason, at least from my opinion, and I think Lucas can back me up on this, he just did not appear ready. He threw several interceptions in the preseason. He wasn't making the right reads. Yeah, he had a couple nice balls, a couple nice plays, but it takes a while sometimes to adjust to the speed of the game, to adjust to a brand new offense. I'm more in favor of, if you draft a rookie quarterback, you bring him in. If you have the luxury of having a starting quarterback that can go out and win you football games, then you bring him in, you get him mentored, you let him learn the offense, then you let him take over, and you don't get him beatered and bad up his first year behind a bad offensive line, if you have the luxury of having those things, right? So I agree with you. They shouldn't have just thrown this guy into the fire. They hit the panic button. Jay Gruden knew that his days were numbered, and now I think he just wants to use Dwayne Haskins as an excuse to try and keep his job at the end of the year, saying, oh, well, we started a rookie quarterback in the first quarter of the season, and it takes time for a quarterback to develop.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm thinking. There's only 2 reasons why you hit the button and you bring in Haskins. Number 1, Case Keenum is doing abysmally awful and you have no other choice. Number 2, you hit the panic button and you fear for your job. I think it was number 2, clearly, because Case Keenum wasn't having a terrible game.
No, and like Haskins came out, he hit 2 passes, got him a field goal, and then was just completely terrible after that.
Yeah,
and it's just I just don't think it's fair to him for them to throw him in there like that. I think coming out of college, you look at Haskins, and he did really good at Ohio State, and you think that like this guy has the ability, he has the potential to be an NFL starting quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't think you can just throw him in there mid-game. Like, I don't think they game planned to have him in there at all week.
No, not at all. He probably wasn't taking reps with the ones or anything.
And to a rookie who, coming from college, most likely doesn't understand NFL defensive schemes as well and stuff, and hasn't been studying them as much as you would like as a first string. And so they probably brought him in and told him that he was going to have a year to study and wait, and dude's just going to rip that from him.
And then look at the Redskins offensive line right now, missing Trent Williams. They don't exactly have a very stout front 5.
Their whole team is garbage, dude.
It's like, do you really want to risk if Haskins is your guy? Do you really want to risk a catastrophic injury by throwing him to the Wolves in the first year?
I say their whole team is garbage. I really think their secondary and their offensive line is where their issues are. We're going to talk about them as a team a little bit later, because we got some stuff going on with that, Jackson, in our bet section.
Yes, we do, and it's not looking too pretty for you.
All right. So watching First Take, Stephen A. Smith said that he heard from his sources that the Redskins actually wanted Jones, and that the Giants heard that the Redskins were going to pick Jones,
So that's
So
why they drafted him at
that's why
6.
they got him so early instead of waiting until their next pick.
That makes
And
sense.
and so now, like, the Redskins aren't going to say that now because obviously
They have
they got
Haskins.
Haskins, right? But I want to get in on comparing them a little bit
Okay.
off this
Yeah, let's do
game,
it.
So I think they're both bad. I,
Uh, okay. If we're just talking about this game,
yeah, like they both did pretty
okay.
bad, honestly.
Right. I think Daniel Jones clearly had superior numbers this game. And I think at this point of where he is right now, after seeing Daniel Jones for 2 games, I think Daniel Jones is clearly the superior quarterback at this point in time. I think he played very good against Tampa Bay. I think he didn't have a great game against Washington, but he came out with a dub, and that's what matters. 200 something yards. Yeah, he had a couple picks, but with you expect that among rookie quarterbacks. In comparison to Dwayne Haskins getting thrown to the wolves and throwing 3 interceptions, right? And having how much did you say? 170?
At 107 yards.
107 and 3 picks.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, he threw the ball 17 times, completed 9 of those.
Yeah. So not too great for first start. Right now, I think there is no comparison. Daniel Jones is 2-0 in his first 2 starts, and Dwayne Haskins gets thrown into the wolves and loses to the Giants.
I think it's hard to compare them. I think Daniel Jones has a better offensive line, and I think he probably has more weapons available to him.
Seems to be more pro ready.
Yeah, well, I think he's more of a pro style quarterback. Like he's not like, obviously he can move and make plays with his feet, which is
that's
why
really
they brought him
helping
in.
the Giants, by the way.
Right? Yeah, like that's probably the biggest change between him and Eli. But I think Haskins isn't exactly a traditional quarterback like that as much.
Sure.
And so I think it hurts him. I think that's why he needed the extra year. I
agree.
Was for something like that. I think Jones is just naturally a better quarterback to come in and start as early as he has compared to Haskins coming in and starting.
I completely agree.
Haskins can work on his stuff, and in the end, I think he can be a better quarterback because I think he has better potential in terms of like throw power and ability with his feet.
Yeah. They say Jones is smart, like incredible football IQ. Like him and I think the story with him and with the Mannings is I think he kind of grew up going to the Mannings football camps, and they were kind of friends and buddies. So he always kind of grew up around the Giants organization. And so when the Giants hear that, this makes sense now. If the Giants hear that the Redskins are going to take Jones quickly, then the Giants are like, no, we're just going to get our guy and don't care what anybody else says.
Right.
So if that's the case, then you get him, and now they look like they were right.
Yep, and they're proving everyone wrong.
And let me tell you what, the Giants are coming back to play, and they're going to get Golden Tate back soon. And I'm starting to get a little worried.
This week?
Yeah, starting to get a little worried.
The boy's coming back too. The one. Ooh,
the boy.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Dad to be back.
I know, right? Yo, he's gonna make a big impact with Tennessee. I really think he will.
Yeah, well, I actually have some update on the line when we get to that. We got one more thing before the Titans.
Okay.
So everyone that follows the NFL has seen the hit that Vontaze Burfict put on the tight end of the Colts, and it was completely uncalled for, I think. And the NFL has stated that he is suspended for the season.
Right.
Which is so a lot of people are saying that's kind of harsh and stuff. Before you give your thoughts, I just want to say that like football is a very violent sport. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to control yourself in specific situations, and you have to, if you have a problem with hits like this, you need to get better, right?
Right.
So I want to state all of his previous offenses we got going on here.
I think that's important, yeah.
So, January 2016, he was suspended 3 games for hitting Antonio Brown in that playoff game, right? So, AB goes up, he can't catch the ball, like the play's over, and the dude runs by and just knocks his head off. AB's just laying on the ground. This is in a playoff game. They needed 14 yards to get to field goal range. This gave them 15 yards off the flag.
Yeah.
They kicked the field goal and win, I believe. That would have been a huge deal if the Bengals could have won that, because it was, like I said, a playoff game.
Yeah, exactly. Give them some momentum.
Right, so that should have been the end. And then August 2017 rolls around. Suspended 3 more games for hit in a game against the Chiefs. Hits another dude in the head. Can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Didn't learn nothing. April 2018, suspended 4 games for using performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
I don't have all the details on that. Like if he didn't know he was taking what it doesn't matter because he can
We don't
say
have the
whatever.
backstory, but yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter. He got suspended 4 games for doing stuff he wasn't supposed to. All right, so that's his NFL stuff. But as I looked into it a little more, I found out that like even in college, this dude just had problems. Like had problems controlling himself, and it's not something that just came up in the NFL because it's so fast or anything. Like he's been doing this since before. So in college, he had 16 personal fouls in 26 games that he played. So he played 26 games.
Wow.
16 personal fouls. And apparently one of them that was like 3 in one half.
That's like a rate. That's like an average of what is that, like 60 something percent, 70% games?
It's up there.
It's up, yeah. Okay.
And so like that's just ridiculous. So I think that the NFL is 100% within its right to do this.
61%, yeah.
61%. I think everyone saying that he doesn't deserve this judgment needs to look at the NFL and how they are valuing the player's safety over a bunch of other things, which is how it should be, because although football is violent, it doesn't have to be detrimental to people's well-being and their future.
Right, and CT is a big thing.
Exactly. It's a huge deal. It can change you. It can change your family. So I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with this suspension.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I first saw the news that he was suspended for a year, I said, "Wow, really?" But then, like you said, I kind of did a little bit of digging, and then I saw that he got hit in 2016 for a same offense, same in 2017, and then I saw his 2018 charge, and I think it's completely justified, right? I think for him getting suspended for an entire season, obviously him getting suspended for multiple games in the past hasn't worked because he's continued to do this, and if getting suspended for the rest of the season doesn't wake you up and you miss all those game checks, then if that doesn't signal something in your brain, then I don't think really anything will. Anything short of just being kicked out of the league. I went back and I saw the hit and I watched it multiple times. He clearly led with his head. It seemed to be an intentional play, right? It wasn't like he was trying to get his eyes on him or something. He lowered his head and hit him in the side of the helmet as hard as he could.
And then runs off the field smiling. Just pulls his helmet off. He's just grinning ear to ear.
Right. And I would understand if it's like, oh yeah, nice big hit, big play, hit him correctly, right? Hit him with your shoulder or something, you knock him down, and that's part of the appeal of the NFL. But I mean, especially in the recent years, the NFL really has been making a point of cracking down on these types of hits because of studies that they've done and recent stuff that has popped up and results of traumatic injuries to former NFL players' brains.
Well, it's
a serious problem.
It's even like the AB drama with the helmet is because they're trying to be safer with the players.
Right.
They want them to have better protection. And I just don't know how you can let this go on for almost, since he was in college. Like how do you not get this stuff changed? Now, he did go for 2018, he had the problem with the Peds or whatever, but he didn't have the problem with any of his personal fouls and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So some people are looking at it and they're saying, okay, well, dude changed, he got better.
Yeah.
Obviously not. Because this was bad. Like, this was egregious. Like,
yeah, this was really bad. The next hit, he has to be kicked out of the league. I would imagine. Wouldn't you think so? Like after getting suspended for an entire year, say he comes back next year, right? 2020, let's say it's like game 7 or whatever, week 7, and you see something like this happen. Surely he's out of the league.
I think so.
I would imagine. Yeah.
That's only next step. That's as far as you can go.
And they have to make an example. If you get him, I don't want to say 4 games is a slap on the wrist, but I guess in the NFL it kind of is. Slap on the wrist for 2 years, right? He gets trouble again the next, right? Yeah, it's not the same thing, but he still gets in trouble. And again, I don't know the circumstances behind it, so I don't really speak to that too much. but then he comes out and does this. It's like you got to send a message to the rest of the NFL players and say we will not tolerate this, man.
Right.
This was bad. So I completely agree with it. I agree with it. I think he should be suspended for the season, given his past.
Good.
This was just a random out of the blue thing that I would be like, "Woo, that's a little much," but you know,
no, it's definitely like I first looked at it and I was like, okay, the hit was bad, but I thought it'd be like a 2-game suspension or
4 games, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be something a little lesser. So we will now move on to the Tennessee Titans. Their beautiful logo is stamped upon my hat here, and my
shirt. Is. You got some in the background too. You got some nice little hats. While we have a second right here, just want to say, hopefully you guys can detect some better sound quality. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I got me and Lucas, he recently just got one, but I got like an arm stand for my mic here. Got a little pop filter. I changed up some of my settings, so hopefully I'm not sounding so quiet. Those of you that send me text messages and updates like, hey, you sound a little quiet on here or that, thank you. That stuff really helps out because I wouldn't be able to make those changes without you guys giving that feedback. So anyway, just want to give a quick shout to that. Also to your room in the background, Lucas. It looks awesome. You got some Dumbledore Hogwarts stuff back there, dude. You got some Rick and Morty. My man out here flexing. Okay.
Gotta have the Rick and Morty, man. So the Titans this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Granted, playing against an Atlanta Falcons team that most likely going to fire their coach at the end of the year if they keep playing the way they are.
I think so. Yeah.
They finally looked like a competitor. Like they're not just there to go 8-8 every year. Like they finally looked like, hey, we want to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And so I got some hope. Okay, that's probably dangerous. It's dangerous that I got some hope.
But you definitely should. Can I speak to one thing real quick? You didn't just beat a Falcons team that. Yes, I know they've been having their struggles, but you beat a Falcons team with the former MVP, Matt Ryan. Okay, Julio Jones, who is arguably he's definitely a top 2 receiver in the league. Okay, or third at absolute worst. I think he's 1 and 2. It's Hopkins or it's Jones, right? I think you throw Thomas in the conversation for 3, so you just pick between those. Okay, I mean, their coaching staff, they've been there, they're experienced, okay? They're not no scrubs, okay? Right. Yes, they've been having injury issues. Yes, they've been having maybe some play calling issues and stuff, but the Falcons, they're not the Dolphins, okay? Like this is a team that is capable of beating anybody else in the league, and they beat Philly, right? Who's a top 5 team right now in the league, at least according to some power rankings. They beat them just a couple weeks ago. So you didn't beat no scrubs. I just want to give you some credit.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you some credit.
I appreciate. That's actually one of the notes. One of the notes I wanted to get into was the secondary. The secondary played lights out. I think it's as well as you could want any secondary in the league to play against Julio Jones, Sanu,
Calvin
Ridley, Austin Hooper, who I didn't get his stats. All right. The Titans are bad against tight ends when we play zone. And that's what we played against because of how good they are. We played a lot of man now, more than I expected because of how good Julio and them are. But whenever we play zone, the tight ends just burn us. He had like 130 receiving yards, but that's okay. They only scored 10 points. All right. So point number 1 I want to get to is the secondary showed up. So Julio Jones had 4 receptions for 52 yards.
Yeah.
He had like 12 targets, and this man caught 4 balls. All right.
Wow.
Big deal. It's a big deal to hold Julio.
That's a huge deal.
All right. Malcolm Butler, my man, Super Bowl ready. All right. We good. All right. He's back to Super Bowl form. Is back.
Yeah, bro. If you get on the 1 yard line, he's going to intercept that ball for you.
You're going to get it. Done. Logan Ryan held Sanu to 9 receptions for 91 yards. That was a huge back and forth battle. Like Sanu would win something, and then Logan would win something. Either way, they didn't have a 100-yard receiver. Awesome against Matt Ryan, who's going to throw the ball 50 times a game.
Okay? Yes, because their running game just hasn't been very good.
Oh, yeah. And then Ridley had 3 receptions for 32 yards. So their leading receivers was their tight end for 130.
Mm-hmm.
And then their number 2, Sanu. And then actually I think Devontae Freeman was number 3, above Julio. I think that is a huge deal that you hold Julio Jones to 52
Oh,
yards.
definitely. And you know, you guys, I assume you doubled Julio all game.
We put Malcolm on him man for man a lot.
Yeah. He did incredibly well then. Because Julio, like, top 2 receiver, he's incredible. The dude is
That's what I'm saying. It's
he
good
is
stuff,
a beast.
Jackson.
He is a man among boys.
Good stuff out here.
Ooh,
That's
that's beautiful.
Next, I just want to say, if you look at the stats and you're wondering how Matt Ryan threw for like 350 yards or more, he didn't throw for 400, but he threw for 350 plus. Anyways, and only scored 10 points, it's because the Tennessee Titans have the best punter in the league. All right? It is confirmed. This man went to the Pro Bowl last year. He was a punter in the Pro Bowl last year.
Yeah.
So this man, 5 punts, average of 45 yards. His long was like 56. All 5 of them inside the 20.
That's huge, especially when you're starting at the 25 now with the kickoffs. Like field position is a huge thing, and special teams is often underlooked.
And
right, but if you could pin somebody back, that gives you a good start, man.
And some of those were even inside. There was one on the 2.
Wow.
There was like one at the 5. There was another one inside the 10. Like
yes, bro. The percentages just go up for defensive success and 3-and-out success. It, like the closer you get them to that goal line and back in their own, back towards their 1, it just goes way up because you're so limited to what you can do as an offense.
So defense and special teams, which I think have been strong suits for us, like for the past season and a half.
Yeah.
Excellent. Like always, that's what we look at as the strong points of the team. The defense, like we're gonna let you, like we let them drive, 50 yards down the field, but then you're at R40, and then we stop you, and you're down by so much that you're going for it on 4th down every time at the 35, and we just stop you again.
Yeah, it seems like the Falcons just like field position is a huge thing, like you just said, but also just kind of like not capitalizing on some of these drives. Like how many times? Let me ask you, because I didn't get to watch the game. How many times did like Matt Ryan and the Falcons getting to your territory itself? Like how many times did they cross the 50?
I believe they went for it on 4th down like 3 times into our territory, and we stopped them every time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because like so they weren't even in the red zone that much then.
I think they made it into the red zone once. That's when they scored their touchdown.
Yeah, so if you're not even making it into the red zone and giving yourself those opportunities to score, then you have some of the problems, man. It seems like he would drive down, get to the 50, maybe you're 40, and then the drive would kind of stall.
And so,
bend but don't break.
Absolutely loved it. And then you gotta look at the Titans' offensive line, which has been terrible. I've been losing sleep about the offensive line.
You really have been.
I slept like a baby last night. All right.
Oh, I bet you did.
Pristine sleep has been coming quality through ever since Sunday. So, didn't allow a sack. Granted, Mariota, there was a couple times. So, they're trying to contain the quarterback because Marcus can run. So, they're sending their ends or just running straight up the field, right? And so we can form a pocket for Mariota to stay in and throw, but he can't make it out of the pocket because it comes around because the ends go up the field so much.
Right,
so we tried to do play action, roll him out to the right, and Mariota fakes the handoff, turns around, dude's right in his face, throws the ball away, right? Because the ends are just coming off the edge.
Right.
And so what do? Instead of just throwing it away, we actually tried it 2 more times. I don't know why. That's one thing that kind of worries me about the game. I don't know why our offensive play caller, Arthur Smith's out here trying to do this stuff when they're just like, they're trying to QB contain. So if you roll them out.
Yeah, clearly they're game planning against it.
Yeah, so 3 times Mariota rolls out to his right, and as soon as he fakes the handoff, turns around, dude in his face, he has to throw the ball away.
Right. That's just not making an offensive adjustment. If you keep seeing that, then Smith's got to make an adjustment there.
Right. So I want to, for the offensive game plan just being so good and everything, I have to give some stuff to Vrabel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get it, Vrabes.
For finding a way to get the offensive line to do something. No sacks, like I said. Mariota played awesome. He threw the ball away.
How did that the new guy play?
That's what I was about to say. Nate Davis came in. I think it really helped. He didn't get to play every snap, because he's new to this is his first NFL game. But I think it really helped us a lot. He's going to get to play more, and then we got Lawan. We got Dad coming in on the left side. Everyone's favorite dad.
Big Daddy's coming back. The boy.
That's right.
It's over.
So he's coming in. So our offensive line should be a lot better. And I think with a pocket for Mariota to drop back and stand in and throw the ball and let the routes develop, I think you've seen what Mariota really is as a quarterback and what I've always thought he was. And first half, 3 touchdowns, 250 yards.
I hope the Madden ratings adjuster is there. Okay, so we could bring the boy back up. Okay, I don't know why he's number 2 on his own offensive line. Can we get this man at least an 87, please?
No, you got to wait until he makes the Pro Bowl for the 4th year in a row.
Right, to give him any credit. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, already only because he's 3 years in a row. It's whatever.
Only because he's a Titan. This dude was on any other team, he'd be at 94.
1,000%. But all I heard last week is just people going after Mariota, going after his head. And he doesn't have any social media. But I'm sure there's no way he didn't hear some of this on ESPN and stuff. And so what does he do? The guy comes out. We hit A.J. Brown on a slant who makes a amazing play and just outruns everyone else.
I saw that one.
All right. So he gets a huge touchdown. The Falcons come back and answer. And what do? Mariota just drives and he makes some beautiful throws, especially a nice corner throw to A.J. Brown in the end zone to get a touchdown. Awesome touch pass. Well. And then, he had 3 receptions for 2 touchdowns and 90 yards.
Something crazy, dude.
And then, and I think him playing lit a fire under Corey Davis. I think he was I'm not the only number 1 wide receiver here. He's our number 1 and he's earned that spot. But I think he was if this guy comes out here and makes big plays like this, which he's done every week except for the game against the Colts. Our whole team was bad, though. But, the other 3 games that we've played, A.J. Brown's made plays. And he's got more touchdowns, more yards than Davis. And I think Davis was oh, okay. So what happens? We come back out. Davis catches the ball, throws a man off his back. Touchdown. Boom. All right.
Yeah, awesome. Got to let him know.
Awesome anticipation and good routes. The offense was just clicking, and it was beautiful to see that the run game isn't what won us the game. I wasn't sitting here and I was man, it's a good thing Derrick Henry, had 26 carries for 100 yards. Instead, he had 20 carries for 80 yards because we just rode him in the second half. In the second half, we just hopped on the dude's back and we were run the clock down, bud.
Yeah. Pound the pavement.
But yeah. I'm just really glad that everyone got to see that Mariota can actually throw the ball because people apparently thought that he didn't know how to throw the ball, and so that was great. That was so.
Well, I'm certainly glad that the Titans had a great week and that the offense looked as good as it did because I could not stand if we came in here and the Titans lost that game and it was bad or whatever. I was gonna be oh man, Lucas, we both can't be grieving this week, man. I'm so glad.
We gotta have some positivity in here,
bro. We gotta have some good vibes over here on the pod.
Mariota's the only quarterback with no interceptions. Just throwing that out there.
Of course, you got to lay it out there for everybody. Hey, let them know. Sometimes you got to show.
QBR is 5th in the league, whatever.
Apparently, he can't throw.
Yeah, no,
Crazy.
No big deal or nothing. So we'll see what happens. I really think the punter, man, dude.
That's crazy. I've never heard somebody else just talk so good about their punter. Man, our punter is just next level,
He's
dude.
So amazing. I think people underestimate how important special teams is to games.
Oh, I think that's so true.
Look, the Patriots won. The Patriots won because their special teams blocked a kick or a punt or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Defense, special teams.
It feels good when you got the best punter in the league, Jackson.
Yeah, I don't think we've had the best punter in the league ever.
This is the guy that
maybe twice.
When y'all got y'all's new jumbotron or whatever. This is the punter.
He hit
in the preseason game. He's the first one to do it.
Oh my gosh, I remember that being a thing. He's I remember that watching the news or whatever, watching ESPN is like, oh yeah, the punter hit the jumbotron. What just happened?
He's so good, dude. I loved it.
Moving past your punter.
Real quick, one more thing on the punter. I think when he is not the punter for the Titans anymore, I just want you to know that Titans fans, including me, you know how we're like, oh, well, Marcus ain't as good as Mariota. I'll be sitting here looking at my punter, and I'll be like, well, this Jackson Wallace dude ain't as good as a punter as old Brett Kern was back in the
day. old Brett Kern, let me tell you about him. How much time you got?
But yeah, last topic before we get into our recap and our picks for the week.
Let's get into it.
Who's going to win the AFC North? All right?
Because we were talking about this earlier.
Yep. So you got the Packers at 3-1. You got
that's the NFC North there, bud.
Yeah, I said NFC North.
You said AFC. AFC is the Browns.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say AFC North. I got written down NFC North. I said the wrong thing.
Okay, NFC. Okay, yeah.
All right. So who will win the NFC North? Okay.
So we weren't talking about that earlier. Okay.
So I got the Packers 3-1.
Yes.
The Bears are 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions are 2-1-1. All right.
Yeah.
That first week against the Cardinals.
A competitive 2-1-1.
Yeah, and then the Vikings are 2-2, and I think we need to talk about this because the Vikings are obviously way below what everyone expected.
Yeah.
And I don't see the Bears keeping up this 3-1 deal they got going on, although the defense looks awesome. They've played some lackluster offenses also. And somehow
you got Mitch Trubisky having some issues.
And
is there an update on him, by the way?
Not that I know of.
I don't think anything's come out. As of this time of the recording, nothing new yet.
Right. Packers 3-1, Lions 2-1. What you got?
I'm sticking with my preseason pick of the Packers. They've showed me no reason why they can't go out and win this division. I think they played a very tough game against a really good Philadelphia Eagles team. I think their play calling at the end really was the driving force behind them losing that game. I don't know why you passed it 6 straight times on the 1-yard line and you don't convert it, don't run the ball at least once, a little QB sneak, little something there. So I think Matt LaFleur being the rookie head coach he was in that certain situation led to that Packers loss. It seems like things weren't going well, so like, oh crap, let's just hand Aaron the keys and hope he can dig us out of the situation. They didn't stick to their run game plan. Their defense had a questionable night, and so they just threw it all on the back of Aaron Rodgers, who I still believe in heavily. I think he's a great quarterback still, but I think they just ran to a really good Philadelphia Eagles team, and they got outcoached. So, but I still pick them to win the division.
So all things considered, I think I got to go. So I was picking the Vikings to win in the beginning.
Yeah, you did.
And their passing game has just completely let me down.
Yeah, we both picked them this past week.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. And I think the Lions are actually the most complete team.
Isn't that crazy? No one picked the Lions at all. I can't wait for the Packers-Lions game.
I think the Lions are going to win the division, and the reason I can't pick the Packers because I want to go with the man, that bad man. I want to go with
bad man. You show some respect.
Ooh, I got something flying around my face here.
Discount double check.
The reason I can't go with him is because of that head coach, of Matt LaFleur. The guy that
okay, does this have anything to do with the Titans experience? Are you holding a grudge? Is that why you're not picking the Packers?
No. I'm not holding a grudge. I'm looking at things that I witnessed firsthand.
He just got so close to
firsthand, Jackson. Look, man. Look. All right. What was your complaint? Oh, Matt LaFleur threw the ball 6 times on the 1-yard line.
Yes, but there's a difference between me complaining about Matt LaFleur and you complaining about him because he was the offensive coordinator of the Titans last year.
And why do I complain about him? His offensive play calling. And why did you say that they lost? His offensive play calling.
I just want to make sure
sorry, but that sounds like we're saying the same thing.
we are saying the same thing, but the difference is I just want to make sure that you're not coming from a place of vengeance.
No, I'm not coming from a place of vengeance because he left us or anything. I wanted him to leave. I didn't want him anymore. I didn't think he needed to be the Titans offensive coordinator because I did not think he was good enough.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I will say that is what is gruntling me so far about that Packers team is the play calling. And I think it's suspect.
I think he is a head coach because he was the offensive coordinator for the Rams for one season, and everyone wants a piece of the new blood. And he came to the Titans, and I'm sure when he went and visited with the Packers for the head coaching job, that he was like, "Oh, Mariota's just a bad quarterback."
I was with McVay.
Yeah, like I didn't have any people to really work with at Tennessee, and
give me Aaron Rodgers, and
Vrabel didn't let me really play my game because apparently during the second half of the season last year, Derrick Henry started picking stuff up, and Vrabel kind of like forced his hand sometimes. Like, hey, like this week it's time to focus on the run. Like we got Derrick Henry who's rushing for over 100 yards a game. It's time to feed this man. And so I think he just used all these excuses, and the Packers, I don't know why, got this man to be this head coach, and I don't think him and Rodgers get along, and everything's fine as long as you're winning. Go on a little losing streak here, and boom, the team implodes, the rookie quarterback, or the rookie coach can't keep things together, and I think if they lose, you can look at them, say the coach is the reason they lost. If they don't make the playoffs, if they don't win the division, I think everyone's going to blame the coach because you can't blame Aaron Rodgers.
No, you definitely can't blame Aaron Rodgers, and it's a rookie coach regardless. It's a rookie head coach, right? So you're going to have problems, but I will give you that point. And actually, I think you could provide some good insight having been a Titans fan last year, and I mean, obviously always, but I mean, having some insider kind of knowledge into LaFleur's play calling strategies, watching the Titans all last year. But that's my one question mark with the team, man. It really is, like, because I think the defense is top tier. Okay. Yes, they struggled. They got exposed against Philly. Yes, they had a bad game.
We got to talk about the defense too, because that's in our bets that we're going to recap.
I know, and I'm still confident that is going to be the case. I will end up on top at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yes, Lucas. Eventually.
so I'm going with the Lions. The Bears ain't got a quarterback. The Vikings don't have an offense.
Yeah.
The Packers ain't got a coach.
By the way, did you see Thaleen call out Kirk Cousins?
He didn't really. I mean, a little bit. You know, I'm going to be honest with y'all. If you're watching, I don't know if you can see this thing. If you're listening, there is a gnat flying around my room, and it is about to be warfare in here because I'm trying to be cool and not be swatting around and all this stuff. But if he gets close to me one more time, I'm not going to be able to handle myself. So, that being said, the Lions are going to win because they have looked so much better. They should have won week 1. The defense let them down. Yeah. And they
have looked better. I'll give them that. They have looked a lot better than I thought they would.
I mean, they lost last week, and they still looked good. I mean, that should tell you something. They played the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, and they led that game late.
There you go.
Against Mr. Mahomes boy.
So,
Patty Mahomes.
I'm picking the Lions. I'm changing to the Lions now. For
the record. Okay, well, how many times are we allowed to change? That's my question.
Well, I had the Vikings.
Okay, but here's my question, because at the end of the year, okay, with whoever wins the division, I don't want you saying, see, I told you I picked the Vikings at the beginning of the year and they end up winning magically. Or later on, you're like, see, I told you the Lions were going to win, but you didn't originally pick them. I'm just wondering how many times we get to do this. Because I want to be able to change later on if the time comes.
I think you can change bearing like any crazy stuff happens. Like I picked the Steelers, but Big Ben's hurt. Like obviously neither one of us are picking the Steelers now.
Of course.
We picked the Vikings, but
it ain't looking good.
I don't know how they're 2-2.
I think we can give good updates every quarter.
They're 2-2. Because of their run game.
Yeah, I think every quarter, every 4 games, or at least every half of the year, we can definitely make evaluations. As of now, you're picking the Lions. I'm still sticking with my Packers.
All right, so on from that, it is time to do the recap of our bets since we are a quarter of the way through the season.
Let's get some updates. Where are we at?
Excuse me. So, me and Jackson made bets. If any of y'all have listened to any of our stuff, we don't know exactly what we bet on everything yet. We, things like team hats and stuff like that. Since we are
team apparel, team gear, some G Fuel,
and so we did 5 bets so far. We can add more. If things get a little heated, Like if Jackson trying to talk about some stuff like Baker Mayfield not being better than Lamar Jackson, blasphemous stuff going on in
Lamar
here.
Jackson
I
is
mean,
better at this point in
he
time.
ain't the second coming of Jesus, but Lamar Jackson's like 30th.
And neither is Baker. Baker's
No,
not king of the North
that's
yet.
what I was saying. I was saying Baker wasn't. If you would let me finish, all right. You won't let anyone finish their thought. You hear me say one word, and then you're like, oh well, I'm assuming that the rest of his 6 paragraphs that he's gonna say.
I'm just thinking faster than you.
No. You're not listening, Jackson.
Oh, really? Is that the case? Well, what were you gonna say there, sweetie?
I don't want to tell you now. So our first bet. Actually, these aren't in order because I wrote them down and they're in different order because we had some stuff happen. Anyways.
Yeah.
So one of our bets is Kenny Stills will surpass 500 receiving yards. I said that no, he will not. And Jackson went on this big rant about how he was so good and he was going to make Houston so much better. And I was like, he ain't even going to get 500 passing yards. And so Jackson was like, I bet you he will. All right. So Jackson says he will.
Sure did.
I say he won't. He is right now quarter of the way through the year at 188 receiving yards. He's had one really good game and then 3 lackluster 30-yard games.
He catches those deep balls though. He catches the deep ones. Right? That's what's going to count at the end of the year. He's going to have 500. Right? He's almost to 200. Okay, and we're only a quarter of the way there. All right, do some math.
Right, by the way, to rain on your parade a little bit, he is questionable for next week's game.
Oh, Dancy, that really is going to rain on my parade. That's going to mess it up, Lucas.
By the way, talking about receiving yards and passing for the Texans, Deshaun Watson has thrown for 150 yards 2 weeks out of the year, and I have not heard nothing about him being a bad quarterback.
Bro, you know how
I do not understand. I think Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback. But
yeah.
Everyone just wants to. He's like him and Gardner Minshew are just the second. Patrick Mahomes, like they're all up on the mountain. Anyways, another bet that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals, 4 or more wins.
4 or more wins. It ain't looking good.
No, I said they would not. Jackson said that they would.
They should have won week 1.
They are currently 0-3 and 1. No wins. And it ain't looking good, Jackson.
It's not looking good at all. That is one bet that I might lose. But I'm going to put faith in Kyler Murray, okay? I think he'll get better at the end of the year.
Well, they got a college coach that shouldn't even be a coach.
Ooh, shots fired.
The other thing is the Titans making the Super Bowl.
I said no.
They're 2-2, tied for first in the AFC South. So, playoff race.
Man, they didn't even give you credit for tying right now. I saw a graphic earlier this morning that said division leaders, and they had Houston right there. They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Houston. They didn't even give you partial credit.
I don't know why Houston is there. Technically, we are in last place because we lost to the Colts, and we lost to.
So you're not tied for
Jacksonville.
First.
Well, I think we're
all 2-2, but technically
we're all 2-2. But if you do the tiebreaker, but we haven't played the Texans yet, so. Maybe we're tied with the Texans for 3rd and 4th, but we're all 2-2. That's what matters.
I just saw a graphic this morning that said the Texans were in the lead.
Right. Well, what matters is that we're all 2-2.
Yeah,
that's the important stuff. All right.
I'll take that. I'll take that first quarter.
Yeah. Clean slate.
Yeah.
Clean slate with a full plate. All right. Time to eat.
Yeah.
We gonna get this.
We gonna eat, yo. I need Zeke to eat next week, bro. Zeke didn't eat nothing. Okay, he didn't even come out for breakfast. I need Zeke to be.
Same. He's on my fantasy teams. And
I have him on 2 different fantasy teams as well. Yeah, I need him to step up.
You see this little black thing flying around?
I do see it. Him? Yeah, it's actually starting to bug me now.
You see him? That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for pointing out.
All right.
What's our next bet?
Packers top 5 defense. I said they would not. Jackson said they would. There's a lot of me disagreeing with Jackson going on.
Lucas disagrees with me as a favorite pastime.
So right now the Packers defense is 10th in total yards allowed and 8th in points allowed, which is not top 5. And
not top 5 yet. Will be
at the. Okay, well, I mean, after the first game, you were like, "Yeah, top 5 defense, get the Browns, woo!" I mean,
yeah. Well, the Browns put up 40 points.
It wasn't the Browns. It wasn't the Browns. It was the Bears. I'm sorry. Excuse me. It was the Bears.
Yeah. And they also played a Minnesota team that you said were going to be lights out. So, and they held them to virtually nothing.
The Vikings held them to virtually nothing because the Vikings are bad. Their offense is bad. We've seen that through 4 games. It might get better, but the offense is bad. They can run the ball, and that is all. Okay? Who have the Packers played so far? I know they play the Cowboys this coming
week. The Bears. Week. Yeah, they do play us. They're going to get stomped. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, that's going to push your stuff down even more.
I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not okay. Maybe not stomped, but we're definitely coming out. We're winning this game for sure.
Okay.
You got to have some confidence, bro. If you're not confident, then what are you doing?
Last bet we got Redskins make the playoffs. I said they will. Jackson says
how's that looking there, bud?
Well, I didn't think we're gonna play Dwayne Haskins in the second quarter. Like, what is going on?
Maybe he gets some. He goes in. Okay, he knows he's gonna be starting next week, right? He figures it out. And he just lights out the rest of the year. 12-4. Boom.
So look, for everyone listening and watching. Okay. I said this after week 2. I said that the Redskins would go to the playoffs. Okay? Mm-hmm.
You did.
They should have beat the Eagles. They should have won their other game. They got close with their other game, but they definitely know that. Who was their other game? They played you.
They played us.
So they did good against y'all, right? Y'all have a top-ranked defense, and their offense was good with Case Keenum. And then I liked how their offense looked against the Eagles when they should have won because they jumped out to an early lead.
Yes.
And so I was like, if their defense can just stop allowing these stupid long balls, I don't care what you have to do. Play prevent defense every play if you have to. Just don't allow these long passes all the way down the field like this.
Mm-hmm.
Your offense is doing good. You'll have a team. And now we play 1 week, and this man's got 3 turnovers. The quarterback had a bad game. That's okay. But then we don't even let him play a whole half of football. And we pull him to play Haskins, who is bad.
Yeah, starting off, for sure.
So that's all of our bets, Mr. Jackson.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it ain't looking too pretty for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it ended today, I would win 1. You can't count the Titans one, because that's the Titans win the Super Bowl. No, it's 2-2. We're 2-2. We're tied with the rest of the division. But, like, Kenny Stills is technically on pace to make that. I guess you'd win 1, 2. You'd win 2, and I'd win 2. If it ended today.
That's got a little history thing for you. This is from NFL.com. The 1992 Chargers are the only team in NFL history since the playoffs has been expanded in 1990. The only team to start 0-4 to make the playoffs. 1 team.
Okay, that's fine. I think that's fine.
Redskins gonna be number 2.
Yeah,
it's lit.
I got this. Okay, so to recap our pick'em games that we did last week, me and Jackson are officially tied now. I have clawed up from the depths. All right, because at the beginning I was making some risky picks. I was doing some crazy stuff, trying to make some magic happen, and the fairies didn't sprinkle their dust on me. Okay?
No, they didn't.
But
they did not.
But through sheer hard work, I have made it. We are tied at 16-12. Both of us are 16-12.
And surprisingly, I won the college games this week, right? And I only picked 1 NFL game right. My Titans won. I think that's the only NFL game I picked correctly, because I picked the Packers. Yeah, I picked Minnesota.
It's bad for you, brother.
It was bad week, man. Bad week.
So just to recap the games we had Virginia at Notre Dame. Notre Dame won that. USC versus Washington. Washington won that. Eagles versus Packers. The Eagles won. The Titans beat the Falcons. The Browns beat the Ravens. The Cowboys lost to the Saints. And the Bears beat the Vikings in a ugly game.
Very ugly game.
So we will move on to our picks for this next week. Yeah.
Who we got this week?
All right. Just to start it off, we'll start off with college. Number 7, Auburn at number 10, Florida.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good game.
What you got? I'm
gonna take Auburn. I'm gonna take number 7, Auburn.
You are gonna take Auburn? So I'm actually taking Florida because it is in Florida. So
that's a good point. It's gonna be a good game. I'll take Auburn though.
All right.
Tigers.
Number 25, Michigan State is traveling to Ohio State, who is ranked 4th right now.
Okay, I'll take Ohio State. I'll take the Ohio State University.
The Ohio State. I just put Ohio State. You know, I don't, the whole "the" thing just it's kind of annoying.
It's a culture thing, man. It's a culture thing.
Kind of annoying. Kind of annoying. So I'm going with Ohio State too. We both got the same there. Moving on from that, we got Thursday night football. The Seahawks versus the Rams.
Ooh.
I am going with the Seahawks to win this game. The Rams lost to Tampa last week. They're probably going to come out with a vengeance, but I like what I'm seeing. It's a home game for Seattle, and
that's a hard place to play.
I like Russell.
Yeah, I think I'll go Seattle as well. That's a really hard place to play. Russell Wilson been playing very well. Yes, they got beat by New Orleans, but Rams coming off a loss, short week away. I'm going with the statistics here. Yeah.
Plus, Seahawks. The Rams and their running game has been lackluster.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do 3 midday games.
Okay.
Not doing Sunday night football. It was atrocious.
All right. Who's the Sunday night game this week?
I don't even remember. That's how unmemorable it was.
Keep going. I'll just look it up.
Excuse me.
I was just curious.
So started off Cowboys versus the Packers. All right.
Yep. I gotta go with the boys, man.
I gotta go with the boys too.
I gotta have faith, man.
I need the Pack to go down to 3-2, and the Lions to win, and therefore be 3-1-1, and atop the division after the Bears also lose. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's Colts Chiefs Sunday night.
Yeah. I didn't like that game.
Yeah, that game's
the Colts lost to the Raiders this past week. Jacoby Brissett's their quarterback. He's not going to be able to win no duel against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I agree.
Next game we have the Bills coming to Tennessee for the Titans game. I will be there, and I am picking the Titans to win. The Bills defense looks crazy good. Josh Allen, I believe, is the quarterback's name for the Bills. He is in concussion stuff going on right now. They're not sure if he's going to be able to play or not.
Yeah. Because of the Josh Allen situation, I'm going to pick Tennessee. Tennessee was on a roll this last week.
Are you telling me that if the quarterback wasn't hurt? What?
I think I might have picked Buffalo.
Pick him. Go on, do it, because he's going to be there. He's going to be there. They're saying he may or may not play. They don't know. So
I'm going to have faith in Delaney Walker and Corey
Delaney Walker didn't catch a ball last week. He caught one ball for 4 yards.
Now you're talking bad about your home team?
We didn't throw the ball to him.
You're just begging me to pick Buffalo, aren't you?
I'm not talking bad. I'm stating facts to you. Pick Buffalo. Come on.
Why?
Because.
But it's a home game for Tennessee. Okay, they just came off a big win. Right? Hopefully the play call is a little bit better, a little confidence in Mariota. Buffalo just lost a big game. Yep. They got their quarterback in concussion protocol.
Do you look at it as Buffalo lost a big game, or do you look at it as, wow, we held Tom Brady to 150 yards. We are good, and we barely lost this game.
Yeah, barely losing to the Patriots. That's a big feat.
All right. I'm disappointed.
I'm showing faith in your hometown team. Thought you'd be ecstatic.
No, you're not. I would pick the Bills, but their quarterback may or may not play, so I'm going to play it safe. I want you to grow some kahunas, all right?
Listen, that is a variable that must be considered.
All right, anyways.
You and I both know this.
The other midday game, we have the Falcons going to Houston to play against Deshaun Watson and the Texans. What you got, Mr. Jackson?
I'm going to pick Houston. I'm going to pick the Texans, man. I'm going to pick the Texans. I'm going to pick Deshaun Watson. Falcons looking questionable, especially on defense. Matt Ryan struggling. Obviously, I expect him to snap out of it at some point. But I'll pick the hometown team, the Houston Texans.
I'm actually going to pick the Falcons. I had them written down. I make all my picks, by the way, Jack. I make all my picks every week before I tell you, before I get on here. Because I don't want you to be like, oh, you just picked that because I did, or I picked the opposite.
I never pick anything because you did. I pick something because I believe in it. But yeah.
Well, I just wanted to let you know.
I appreciate the clarification.
So that you weren't like, oh, well, I didn't pick the Bills, so now you got to go opposite me and pick the Falcons. No, I think the Falcons come out and just air raid. All right, I'm talking bombs. Matt Ryan's gonna be dropping bombs. Okay.
Matty Ice.
I think it'll still be a close game, but I think the Falcons pull it out. Lastly, we got Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
A team that you don't like, the Browns, who you just despise
Overhyped.
apparently.
They're overhyped.
I'm overhyped, yes, but they put up 40 on a Ravens defense.
Yes, and they got smacked against Tennessee.
Yeah, they did. 16 penalties or something ridiculous, like 15, something
dude,
like that.
I don't believe they're coaching. All right, go ahead. Who are they playing?
Browns are traveling to play the 49ers.
All right, I'm going to pick San Fran.
Oh, I'll pick the Browns. Jesus, Jack.
I'll pick San Fran. Okay, 3-0. All right, Kyle Shanahan's going to come out with a good game plan. Okay, they had a bye week this week. They have extra time to prepare. All right, Cleveland's going to come in overconfident. I'm picking the surprising 49ers team.
So we picked different on 3 games this week.
We sure did.
Just in case you want to change anything. I know how you are. You need to try to make sure you ain't going to flip flop on me.
You really want me to pick Buffalo, don't you?
I mean, you just flip flopping all the time, Jackson. I'm just making sure you're good, bro.
What are you talking about flip flopping?
Nothing, just.
All right, dude.
Right, you good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Well, they're in ink. They can't be changed. All right.
They aren't ink, my friend.
That's all I got.
All right.
Browns
I like that we
49ers 3-0, but it doesn't matter. Browns are gonna win. I despise the
Browns.
What
is with you writing? Why are you writing? Are you just doing that just to get in my head and mess with me? Like, is it because that I don't believe in the Browns that you really are just like contesting that with me?
No, because like I said, I picked my picks before. So last week, before we even talked about Lamar Jackson and how you just want to, hop on his back and ride him to the promised land as much as you love him,
I say a couple good things about Lamar Jackson, comparing him to Baker Mayfield off season commitment, and now you think I think he's a second coming.
Well, the off season doesn't matter when you do better in the regular season. It doesn't.
Off season matters.
No.
Off season matters a great ton, and the preparation, the work that you do before the game.
At the end of the year, you're gonna look at the off season and you're gonna say, well, Baker Mayfield did, a gazillion more commercials than Lamar Jackson did, but you know what? He's still the better quarterback.
Well, we'll just have to see at the end of the year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, just like that Packers defense ain't gonna be top 5.
Right, and the Titans won't make the Super Bowl, and the Redskins are not making the playoffs.
All right, so the Titans thing was pretty far fetched. Can't even
lie.
I
actually really do hope they make the Super Bowl though.
I do think we are going to make the playoffs, and then from then on, anything can happen. But I think we'll make it to the playoffs. But
I do think we make the playoffs.
I think the Super Bowl thing is a far fetch for any team, even the Patriots. Even though you got the GOAT and you're always in the Super Bowl, I still think it's a big deal.
Just making that prediction is crazy. The NFL, like we were saying at the beginning of the show, the NFL is so crazy, and I think that's why we love the sport so much, is because week in, week out, you never know who's going to win. You can think on paper that yes, 9 times out of 10 this team's going to beat the other team, but you just never know. It could be that 1 out of 10 times where, Buffalo starts out 3-1. Like what? So
I'm going 7-0.
That's why I love this sport.
7-0. I'm going 7-0 on picks this week.
7-0. That's crazy because I'm going 7-0, and that can't happen for you to go 7-0. Because we didn't pick the same.
I think you did some math wrong.
You think I messed up? Well, we'll just have to see.
Actually, we got some of the stuff the same, so you have to get some of them right. But that's just because you're just riding my ideas here.
Yeah, definitely.
I sent you the video earlier of the notes and stuff, so you seen who I was picking already.
Oh yeah, on Snapchat, you're like, oh yeah, these are my notes. I'm ready, bro. I'm gonna tell you what though, this podcast really is fun though. Lucas sent me a little Snapchat earlier on. It's like, like all of his notes that he has going into the pod. Now I'm just like, dude, this just gets me so excited. Like, we come into this thing prepared, we're ready to go. It's so much fun, and I like getting to debate and win arguments against Lucas.
And win arguments, okay. I obviously won the Baker Mayfield Lamar Jackson argument because Baker won. The Browns won.
Yes, they did. They played better. They surprised me. I tip my hat to them, sir.
And they didn't surprise me. Therefore, I was right.
All right. Round of applause for Lucas. Here we go.
That's all I wanted. You can end it now. In the show.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to the Go for Two podcast. Don't forget, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. Also, we upload to YouTube every single week, and me and Lucas actually talked about doing some more different YouTube content to hopefully bring you guys a little bit more exclusivity to the channel. If you do like, comment, and subscribe, we really would appreciate that. Lucas, any closing comments?
Actually, yeah.
What's your closing comment?
All right. I get on here. I believe you read off some stats about like we actually do have some people listening to the podcast, right?
We do. We're growing.
We had
It's
one
great.
viewer. We had one viewer for our YouTube video. All right, didn't leave a comment. I'm upset. Okay. All right.
Should be.
If you go to YouTube, I don't care how many seconds you're on there. If you're on there for 1.2 seconds, you immediately leave a comment and you like the video. Boom. All right.
It really does help out a lot though with like the YouTube algorithm and stuff. That all that stuff adds up.
And like, so we actually have people listening to this, and no one's commenting on like on the podcast app and stuff like that, Spotify, all those stuff.
Yeah, leave us a review, leave us a rating, let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, you know what? Like we would only read off the 5-star reviews, but I'm getting pretty starved for attention right now. Okay, so you give me a 0-star review. I don't even know if that's possible. Probably not.
I don't know either, but you can definitely send in questions, send in topic ideas. You know, you want to be included in the show. We've had a couple of those before. We'd love to have them again. Hit us up, guys. And not just through text, social media, drive traffic. All right. Thank you guys for coming to the show. Really do appreciate it.